take away those chillin', yeah, and take away them greens, yeah, because mama's little baby loves pork.
What do you know about that Dogman print?
I was in the Rocky Mountains hiking, and you said earlier what we're just talking about exactly. Sometimes you had that premonition of just to turn around, that voice that says, do this, just do that. You do that. And this particular day I did it on a trail. I said I would carry my camera up into a height below my chin, like ready. That particular day I had it there. I'm walking. Something says, Ken, you need to turn around. When I turn around, automatically I look up. And this thing is hanging down, hanging into the trees, kind of like a lion would sit on the side of a cliff with his paws like on the cliff, just looking over at you. He's in the tree doing that, looking down at me. But I thought it was in a position where, well, I'm walking past it to where I have to turn my back. That voice said, turn. I didn't see it as I'm walking up. I saw it as I walked past it. I turned to see it. It was like all I had to do is pounce me. It didn't do that. It didn't do a back attack, I'm trying to say. Because when I was warned to turn, I might have deterred it because it was like in this little like looking at me. And I just said to myself, that's a dog, man, turn around and go. And that's all I did. And I didn't get my camera out and do a damn Bob Gimlin film and none of that. It was like, you need to go. And I said, that's a dog, man. And it's doing everything but drooling on me. And I'm like, just like, so I take that picture and I go back and I develop it and I go, my God, this thing is just sitting right there looking at me. Right down, you see these eyes. He's got kind of these pointed ears. He's got a snout that's long. And he's looking down. And I'm just thinking, my God, all these years out here, Kenny, you finally saw your dog, man. I think I did. I want to think I did. I know what I'm looking at, and it's not a bear up there. It's not a cougar. It's not your mountain lion. It's not a possum. It's not a raccoon. It's not a fish. It's a damn black bear looking thing. But a bear wouldn't. How did the bears? I know they climb the trees. They get out on these limbs and they do that stuff. But this was not a bear. And the picture I took was one snap, turn around, exit stage left.
And that's definitely not a bear track.
Well, good. And this
I don't think it is. Anyway.
And well, I'm talking about the picture. Now, there's a picture. You haven't shown it yet. So I'm more emphasis on the picture that hasn't been shown yet that I'm talking about.
Well, why don't you see if you can find it?
Will you why don't you send it to me in chat and I'll just do it right now because you sent me about 100 pictures and I don't know which one you're talking
about. I did. And I know I sent you a bunch and
so just send me that specific picture in my chat box on Facebook, and then I'll bring it up, and you guys can talk while I'm doing that. Can you do that?
I think I can.
I'm kind of looking at this Dogman print.
Yeah, go another one. Yeah, I'll get that another one. I'll get that picture. Yeah, I sent you hundreds.
Yeah, videos don't work all that well in this format for some reason for me, or maybe I just know what.
I'll send the Dogman. I'll get it.
Send me the I don't want a video. I just want a picture.
I know, a picture. Okay, I will when I soon. I don't want to lose you guys, so
you should be fine. Did you want to keep this picture up for now, or can I shut it off for now?
He just said change this picture.
Yeah, get another one. Yeah, we'll come back to Doggy.
Okay, so I'm going to get the picture, then I'll bring it up for you guys. If you guys want to talk, while I'm doing that.
So on that dog, man, that was another one that was in the middle of the afternoon. So
a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are afraid of Dogman, but I kind of like the idea of a Dogman. I've had them come to me in my dreams, and they were very friendly. So I think they're like any other creature out there. If you have a good heart and you're friendly to them, you'll probably get friendly back. But if you're prey or they're hungry or something, maybe you'll have a hard time.
I tell them about dogs and they ask me, why do they tear dogs up? Well, when you got a dog running up on you, chomping on you, biting you, you're going to protect yourself. They protect themselves. Maybe I've had instances where a girl was picking a flower near Castle Rock, Colorado. She's on her family's land picking flowers. She's a little girl, and she's down on the ground picking a flower. She got a little bitty doggy. The doggy's looking up at something. Where the little girl looks up, Bigfoot's up there sucking the sap out of a tree branch that just had gotten cut because the tree riders were bumping their heads, so they went through, trimmed these branches. That's how high he was up there sucking his sap out and looking at this little dog and her. She said she said that she saw the feet and go, is there a man out here with big feet? But now she's older now. But she said as far as the dog, the Bigfoot didn't want nothing to do with that little dog, and it gave it a 3-look glance, like back and forth like that, and then just turned its shoulder and walked off. Didn't want nothing to do with the dog or the child. But if the dog's coming at you and it's ripping you, and Bigfoot's going to say, "Pup, you're gone." So
Yeah, you sending me that picture?
Yeah. I've been yakking. I'm afraid I'm gonna. Let me see here if I can find it. See that picture. It's in an archives of 3,000. So it wouldn't.
Oh well, then you know what? Then
yeah,
maybe we'll just don't worry about it. It'll just interrupt the flow of the show too much. So, is that your only experience with Dogman?
Yes, one time, and it was a gift of just wow. That's enough. To see it in that crouched position, not standing up with this wolf type looking shape or a Wendigo or that kind of stuff. I didn't see that it was in a position where it was comfortable. It was hot. It was in July. It was like I said, it was hot, and it was like everybody was just like cooling. And I think it was just up in them trees, just cooling off. But why would it be in a tree like that looking down at me? And why did I turn? Because when you're out there and you have that type of instincts to turn, and that little third intuition does that, what's the harm in not doing it? Yeah. So many a times when I would go, I'm gonna write my book. It's called 10 Steps More, because many a times if I didn't go that 10 more steps, I wouldn't have gotten what I've gotten. So I go to a point of no return sometimes and decide, do I want to turn around and come back? And then one time I got to points where like, God, Ken, if you just went 10 more feet, you would have gotten it. And I'm just saying,
something told you to turn, and then you saw the Dogman, right? You had that feeling to turn, and there he was.
Pull over. Some said pull over and get the wallet. Some deer's going to hit, and it's just everything. Everything adds up. It's little things you're driving down the road, and you think that you passed that sign before, and you go back and you go, "Are you guys messing with me? Did you guys send me back again?" Sometimes I get like you're talking to yourself. Like I go, I thought I would never do that, but I think sometimes, hey, I just passed that sign. Are you guys messing with me? So like I do feel like sometimes that they can play with you, and because they are friends with you now, we're family. They're like little kids, and they do stuff. If it's I think the juvenile. I've always had I was a Boy Scout leader. I was there for the kids. I always had an attraction to help the children and the elderly. I was a CNA, and I helped with compassion with the elderly and the sick. And I think that they connect with all that. They don't want this nasty, what would they have out there? And I do feel when you asked me earlier, yeah, they chose me now. I'm past this point of now I'm just collecting more, learning more and experiencing, and just I don't get as much now because I'm not in the Colorado Rockies. I'm not out, but what I've went through and stuff, I don't need a whole lot of I know what I've done in the past and what it's done for me. And then
let me ask you this then. Do they because I don't have to go out into the woods. Like they're connecting with me right now, like a few times on the show.
Learning
are they doing that with you?
Yes, because the other day I was out, just before I came here from Colorado, we had a road to do. So my grader comes through, we grade the road, I come through and do the fine on it. And as I'm grading this road, guys, the road's graded and it's smooth, it's nice. I come back, there's a footprint there. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, Pat. I listen to you a lot of times talk about how these things, it's just, are they messing with me? And then I come back, footprint's gone. Then I come back, and on the same road, there's an X in tree branches in the road. I'm like, can they just pop in and mess with you and pop away? I know that in the Colorado High Rockies, I went through a vacant field once, one perfect footprint out in that field. What was next to that footprint? Like you would take your ski and poke it in the snow and lift it back up. It was like that mark in it and that footprint. And I thought, wow, is that portals or what could do that? And where did the footprints go? There's only one, but
Yep, absolutely. I've experienced that.
yeah,
Experienced that. That's a true thing.
wow.
Well, that's kind of like a teaching, when they want to, they'll do something strange just to make you engage. What does it mean? Does that mean they're invisible? Does it mean they know I'm coming? Does that mean they know I'm going to be right there to see that? Is it a gift for me? It's like a teaching thing in a way.
Yeah, it keeps you more intrigued, more to go on, and to keep pursuing that drive you have for the experience. And it's like being the first man on the moon or something. You just drive to get more. It's just consumption, and then you get stuff like that, and that gives you building blocks, and you just go more. You just take that as a occurrence and move on. But boy, it's nice to have things happen all the time when you go and do things. Sometimes a lot of things don't happen out there. So you were talking about a lot of photos in that area. We talked about inbreeding and how why is there 4 toes and a lot of times up in that area, like the dogman print, he's a 7.25-inch print here, and he does have his 4 toes. And a lot of times when I'm up there, see, there's another one, 4 toes, and look how big it is after. Well, see, this is when it was small. The 4 toes. This is when it grew. This was 2016. Okay. I go with that divot in there, and there's a little spot right there that shows. Well, if I go to my big one, there's that spot. It's just bigger. And look how that distended toe right there is. It's in this one too. So it's just 3 years later of the same individual. So that's what that study was up in that area where I got all the alien activity. And then it's the Bigfoot study I did with this little guy to show that he's got 4 toes. He went from a 7.25 to this one. I don't remember how big he is there, but I find a lot of 3 toes up there in this area of where I had all that alien activity at. So
did you ever get scared up there? Did they ever do anything at all to rattle your cage?
yeah, well, that time I talked about the big one, and it looked down into my tent and was doing that breathing like a horse, and he's sniffing. And I'm can't hear out of one ear. I'm deaf, and I was listening to a tape of a BFRO excursion, and I was trying to catch the PowerPoints capture where I could hear a noise, and I would mark that down so that when Dennis views the tape, he doesn't have to listen to the whole tape. He just goes through those sections of the tape. And when I took my headphone, he was in my window at that time. That scared me the most as far as it's sniffing at me. And it was like this fan. It was just so much power. And what I had done is all my water bottles that you drink and you hear that squishy, I put all the empties around my camp. So when I hear it run off, I hear that. So when I took the picture, I'm saying that night, and of that big thing breathing, he was so close to me, just right there. It ran off and it was hitting those water bottles. I just laugh about that because I could hear that, and that's my sound bombs. I use things out there that helps me because I couldn't hear them that well that night. But that was a scary night up in the
So did you have a big tent, or was it like a pup tent?
Nope, it was a truck tent. So you set the tent up in the back of your truck, and the windows probably about above the, you're up there a little bit. So that thing has been the thing. The Bigfoot has been recorded up there, and my buddy's got some recordings of it, but I don't know what he's doing with it. These guys get these things and they act like they have the next Bob Gimlin thing. And it's like, to me, I'm like, it's all about, well, just share it. If I had a Bigfoot walking across with a pizza in his hand, I'd share it with you guys. It wouldn't be this, I'm going to get $1 gazillion. But I guess some of the researchers do. A bunch of my researchers in that area, we've got things that it's just not common. that the occurrences that happen up there is frequent, and it only happens to seem to be a few people that it happens to. Mostly it's me and Jason, or me and my buddy, that gets the happenings up there.
Give us an example of a happening that.
Well,
that
like say, I went up one time and I pitched my tent, and I decided that I would move my tent and go down to the meat pit down the way. So I said, I left that area. That night, Jason gets what we call Elvis. Is one of these called Elvis, and it's got long hair and it flows down. It's a little one, and we call him Elvis. He showed up at my camp, and Jason's like, he's looking for you. But I'm down in the meat pit with his dad. That's the one that breathed at me. That's the one that in the window at me. If I would have stayed where I was at, I would have gotten the little guy. But I got the big one down in the meat pit. I'm just saying.
Well, so you're saying that there was like a connection. It was like,
Yeah.
if you stayed up in the hill, you would have seen the little one, and you went down, you saw the big one. So while at the same time, your buddy's up there seeing the little one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it happens. It seems
That's like a simultaneous sighting almost of two locations.
Well, I tell you one about that Glen Haven sighting. A guy calls me up. I go down there and do a Bigfoot investigation. He gets me in his Cushman. He drags me down this road, and as we're down on this road, he's trying to show me this valley. He thinks that they're coming down from the mountain. Well, as I'm down there, this guy on a motorcycle is looking up in the hills, and we ask him, "Can we help you?" And he goes, "I got this on recording." I clicked my recorder on. He goes, "About an hour ago, there was a Bigfoot right there on that hill." And I thought, wait a minute. I even said this. It's in the movie. I said, "Did you guys trick me here? Because I'm doing a Bigfoot investigation. I'm down here. He's showing me where he thinks they're coming from. And you're just telling me you just saw one an hour ago." The guy's like, "Yeah, man, I'm not with this guy. I don't know this guy." It was like, I've never been on an investigation where I had just an hour fresh sighting of somebody who just saw one. And I'm down there doing an investigation with somebody who saw one, prior to that. And I'm like, that's just amazing. To me, it was. And that just shows that this guy saw it an hour ago. I'm down here doing an investigation with this guy. Other guy, he saw it not too long ago. That area is so squatchy down in that area that's the area that the government kicked me out. Put up this guy says, "You're out of here. We don't want you around here." The national park and Estes Park around here, we have 4 to 5 million people come through a little town every summer and go to a mountain called Trail Ridge Road, Rocky Mountain National Park, and the park department don't want a damn thing to do with a Bigfoot. They say to me that it will scare people off, and I say, you got 4 million coming through. I bet a few of them would like to know about what goes on around here. They don't want that around here. They think that if we get these Bigfoots under a class, we don't want them. They would put them under some type of protection. You wouldn't be able to log trees, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't be able to have people go in the forest, blah, 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 blah. They just gave me the big old why.
When I was a kid, I lived in, I think, California and Colorado and a few other places. And my dad actually took me to Estes Park, and we went hiking around up there. It's the only time I ever went hiking as a kid with my dad was in Estes Park.
Well, that's cool. At least you got a good memory of that. So
yeah, I just remember they had some really majestic pines for a kid. Like I lived in California, there wasn't the big pines there, and then I lived in Hawaii before that. So these were kind of like first time you ever see really big pine trees.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to bring the Bigfoot awareness to this area. And
that would have been in 1956. So if they might have been clear cut before that.
Wow, 56. So St. Milo was open then as a camp. So you never heard of St. Milo up here, huh?
Oh, I was 6 years old. What do you don't know?
Oh, well, that's true. That's
I know.
Your age
I know the inside of the car, looking at it. That's what I know.
You saw these mountains and thought, "Wow."
Because I've got a really nice kind of a spiritual connection to Sasquatch, and so I look back in my childhood. I don't really have that any drive to, I wasn't a camping kind of a guy or woods. Spent most of my from teenage years and earlier, like in Miami, Florida, and there's basically no woods there. There's swamp and heads out in the swamp, but it's not like any place else in the United States. You just don't go hunting out there, right? You have to have a swamp buggy. You have to be dressed to the eyeballs, and then the deer they have is like the size of a German Shepherd. You know what I mean? It's not like a big trophy hunting stuff like that. And in the north part of Florida, it's a whole different deal. But down there, you got the glades. It's just swamp. So I never went out to the woods much.
Estes Park, the Rocky Mountains go over into Granby, and then that all those mountains back in there are pretty remote, and it's a different type of wilderness for sure, the Rocky Mountains compared to areas, and the game's a lot different. In Estes Park, I got a pet elk named Sammy. You'll see him on my website, and I've had that elk come around for about 15 years now, and it's so docile, and it's big. It's got 7 points this year on one side, 6 on the other. But our animals up there, they're huge. I mean, you don't have a little deer like you're talking about. Nebraska, same way here, very small animal, deer here. So, it's pretty area. The floods, the big flood that happened in 76, I took out a lot of areas, but we had a time up here in 2013 where we had a flood and a fire, and it was drawing things out of the forest, and I was getting reports, a lot of reports. I got a report from a preacher once, and the kid wanted to talk to me, so I go over and I'm talking to the kid, and he told me that he was looking out his bedroom window and he saw this thing crouched down. He says when it lifted up, it turned around and it was eating a rabbit like a donut. And I thought, wow, how cool is that? Little kid telling me that. And
That's a cool story.
Yeah, and I had a sighting exactly from them. 1 mile is where I had my sighting. 1 mile from them, same side of the mountain, just a mile up the road. And I'm thinking, wow. And it was about the time of all this was happening. And I think the fires in the wilderness was bringing them. They're going to get the hell out of the wilderness. They're not going to fight a fire. I don't care if you're a Bigfoot, an alien, or a whatever. You're not going to be in a damn fire like that. So it was just jostling this town. And I was getting reports of them walking in town, walking over the bridge over at the park. And I'm like, oh, come on. I mean, 2 of them hand in hand walking over the bridge. I'm like, oh my God, here comes the reports. Now, my phone number's open. Anybody can call me, and I get a lot of fictitious stuff. But
I liked what you were talking about earlier about how your life changed, because that was like a big deal in the UFO contact experience, is how people's lives changed. Let me see if I can go through the list and you can say, did you, how did your relationship to nature change?
I think it's connected. I've always had a connection with animals, and I think that it's better. Like I used to be a big hunter before 12 years of age, probably in Nebraska, killed everything, pheasants, quail,
There's a lot of stories of people who get connected to Sasquatch and they just stop hunting. That's interesting.
No more. I don't want to hurt nothing no more.
Okay, the other thing is your relationship to people. And I heard you said you did like a hospice kind of a thing with the older people.
I was a certified nurse aide, and I met my wife. She was my charge nurse. We've been married now 25 years. And that's how I met her, was in the health field of, I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a certified nurse aide, and that's what I became.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that's part carried on later on when your attachment to you shows. So when you go out and you do things, it kind of shows that attachment to me for people to help. Always been there. I'm always Yeah.
So that you already touched about this, but the love of nature, just to be out in the woods and just to feel love in the nature, that's pretty
Well, when you're born,
often reported, which is
when
like a
you're born
different level
watching,
than people who go out hiking or people go out hunting. It's just to be out there and your heart is touched.
well, then you see all these pictures of how these, they killed these animals. And it's got one little buck and it's little, but they're so happy that the kid killed it. It's like there's a lot more to killing it now. Did you take care of it? You rest its soul, or you just want a picture on your phone that shows you got some animal. I mean, let's come. I'm not saying they don't, but the kill is to complete the kill and everything with the kill. I mean, from the
So
dressing
there's a
to
whole
the
spiritual
thinking,
engagement, a
but
spiritual
yes, I think.
responsibility.
But then again, you can step on a piss ant and not care about it. I'm just saying. So
Yeah.
our creatures, but
Yeah, but on the
yeah,
other hand, you might see a caterpillar that's, shouldn't be on the road and you take him off the roads.
I had a
So
friend's a very famous climber, Jeff Dunn, and he climbed all these Wyoming, all those mountains. And one time he came in the theater, and there was he came to my gas station, and there was an ant on his shoulder. And this guy's famous, and I went to go like that. He freaked. Don't do that. I'll take it back, put it on a tree. But that always stuck with me. I thought it's a freaking ant. But that guy didn't want me to kill it. But he's a famous rock climber. He's in magazines. He's trekked ways that people followed behind him. It was for him doing that first climbs. People behind him would never get there because it took him to make those what he's done and the Wyoming area of the whatever he's. I can't get into him right now, but yeah, he would.
okay, and there's another theme.
Yeah.
There's another theme that I've noticed in both the ET people, contact people, and the Sasquatch people, and that is their a level or quality of their engagement with God, with nature. That the people who have like a strong spiritual God connection kind of a thing, like you were talking about Barry Webster, where
Yeah.
and he's had 300 sightings with
Right.
his team.
Yep.
And basically all he does is he goes out and does prayers for them. And there's other people that we've interviewed who have a strong spiritual prayer, like a strong prayer game.
Yep.
So did you have any experience along those lines?
Yes.
Your,
Well, like
your
I said,
faith, your faith, and
when I go out with my intent of asking that, would you please share, and then thanking when I leave. So I'm always with a no malice. I'm not there to. My intentions are always wanted to them to show that they can trust me. That's why when that habitual thing went on, I got my first sighting. I wanted them to build my trust. I used to carry my dog like a baby, so they'd see that and see that they must do it too. How they carry their ones to see that, hey, this thing that comes every day and bothers us for 6 hours a day for 7 days a week. One day we're going to let our guard down, let him in. And they let me in. What I feel like my first sighting was they let me have it. I earned it to enough to where they were comfortable. They gave it to me. I was a lucky one. Then I go back and get a second one like I did. And then, I've seen them. The one in Glen Haven was my third sighting. And it happened by the BFRO going down there and saying to me one day that one night just before dark that they were getting this activity. They turned dark and they got one on thermo, but they were girls and they freaked out and left. They called me. So I go down there. I'm going to talk about my third sighting. And I go down there. I go, well, I'll go down there. Why'd you guys leave? And they go, well, we're not staying down there. And so I went down there and I got down there, guys. And there was one tree that was shaking real bad when I pulled up. And I'm looking, and when I heard it, when I opened my door, it jumped down and hit the ground, and it started running. You guys should have seen me. I shut my door, I got my camera, and I'm just booking. And this thing is running up on the hill, and it's the one that's its hair. This one had some hair that was flowing back a little bit, but it's running, and I'm running sideways with it, guys. And I get to a clearing, I get my camera and turn and take one picture, and it's in the pictures I sent. But you see its hair; it looks like It's just like that, and it's running.
Oh, your mic just went out. Ken, your mic went off. Ken, Ken, your mic went off. Kenneth, yeah, your mic went off.
Third sighting, and see, how do I get 3 sightings? And most people can't even get a picture. And it's like, because I think I've earned all these years of getting the trust and getting them and have a connection. I'm not saying that I can just like a lottery and go get a lottery ticket and win the lottery. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it took a lot of trust and for them the connections and
You're a pretty humble guy too. I think that plays a part.
well,
You're not all out there arrogant and playing big shot.
well, because I see too many of that, and I hire guys to come speak. Not saying bad about my speakers, but I hire the ones that come in and speak to you guys about their books and their 10 things, their T-shirts and their stickers you want to buy from them. That's fine. That's all part of our. But I go a little different at it. I'm a little more of the it's unorthodox somewhat. Um, it's when you grew up with Les Stroud watching the Survivor Man and watching that kind of how he presented things in a different way than Bear Grylls and all these survival guys out there. I looked at John Bigernagger and all Paul Freeman and all those guys who were doing this before me. And when John Bigernagger said one time, you could have a Bigfoot, how you talked, you could have a Bigfoot and you could bring it to the scientists' noses and rub it into their noses and they still wouldn't believe you. And I just went, God, that always stuck with me, John. And so those old pioneers and those old guys, I've been so lucky to have these, to meet a few and have a few speak at my conferences and stuff. And but my way of Bigfooting was not on that computer, and it was out in the fields doing it and getting it and castings and I started out, guys, in my days with a little pocket camera, those Polaroids, little pocket square cameras. That's my first camera, was that little pocket camera, because I thought it was light. I didn't have to carry a bunch of stuff with me. And now it's gone so much further than a little pocket camera. But
You've had like a rich life of Sasquatch life. I'm really glad to have you on. I listened to you, like I said, one of the other shows, and that you were a guest on. I thought, man, this guy, you've got a heart connection there for sure.
yeah,
Do you wanna tell anybody about any websites or YouTube channels or anything like that?
well, my Facebook channel is called Bigfoot Loose USA, and it's Bigfoot with LOOSE, Bigfoot Loose USA/Facebook. So I have a lot of videos in there of around Estes Park.
So that's Facebook,
Yeah, it's on
Bigfoot
Facebook.
Loose.
Bigfoot Loose.
That's a group.
Nope, it's just a Bigfoot page I put up years ago showing my stuff in Estes Park and pictures. And when I talked about earlier about the trackways, I love trackways. I love the snow. Last year on a job site, I got a trackway of about 6 good prints in the snow, and it shows his toe sticking up, and it shows it in all the prints. So it wasn't like the print was made and then something hopped in it and made that deformity. It was in the print, the foot. So I love trackways here. I love the snow carpet. One time I found one, it looked like the Bigfoot had urinated from over here over to there. And I think, how in the hell did he reach it over to there? And it's in the snow and you're looking at it. And if you look at the prints, it walked in and walked out, how it walked in. Now, who out there walks? I guess you can, but it walked into the print going there and then it walked back out as it stepped back out. And I'm like, wow, it stepped back out in the same print. And he left this urine thing. But I love the the Colorado for the blankets of snow we have here, and they say it's so hard to find a trackway more than 3 prints. I've found them plenty of times in the mud and in the snow, and my definition of how some of these are so damn inline is just unreal. It's like a tightrope.
And we can't walk like that. It's hard.
No,
You can, but it's hard.
you gotta swing that
You
hip
have to
around.
practice at it, you know.
I'm gonna send some videos of this one that's beautiful, this 5.5-inch print, and it's right here. I've got them. Where are you at? Oh, here. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys this little baby print, and it's right here, and it's right in the middle there. So
Wow.
in a human, that would be a size 5 right there. That would be their
Wow.
human. So if I draw a line on the floor when I have the conventions, and I ask the mom when she's strolling her 5-year-old up on the and the 5-year-old's got the phone in its hand, and I ask, well, can they put that phone down long enough to walk on this line and show me if they can walk in line? I haven't had one human yet walk the way I found. What I'm showing is a human shoe. That's the size that this little guy would be, and how it was walking. A human didn't walk that way. I'm trying to show that that they won't walk like us. They're walking different. It's an inline stride. I love
I totally believe you. That's amazing.
I even got these little ones this small. And you think, well, it's a duck print. No, it's a little bitty guy. He is so darn small. It's you can almost about the size of a big lighter. So up in this area I go to, I cast a lot. Here's one that's really huge. We can say it's human, but look how big it is.
That looks real human. That's like off of any beach, USA.
Look at those toes. It's just.
I know it looks like a European.
His toes going to show that he wore shoes, and that's what I hear. But that's okay. My dogs are barking. My footprints, I got a lot in museums up in Bailey, Colorado, and I have a few in Harriet's museum.
Well, it's like coming up on 3 hours here. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I just wondered how much more you want to share.
Ollie, come here. Well, like I say, I'll try not like you send pictures of me with Cliff and Bobo and all them. I should have sent you. I got to send you more pictures of footprints. I got a vast collection of footprint casts and pictures, and
I got some of them ready to go if you want.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. Get my dog to quiet down. Come here, honey. Okay, you done good. All right.
Okay.
See, there you go. The same area, guys. And when I'm doing these mud findings of these prints, I look for the most, kind of different. I know that there's humans in there, but that's just a print that I found along that reservoir that I go to.
That's not a human print. No question about it. Do you want to move on? Tell me when you want to move on.
Sure. You zip and I'll zap. That's of course me and Les, and I realized Les was that small, but the interesting guy, and it was good to meet him. And that's the Mile High Mystery Conference with Dave Pilatus, and that's just me and Les. And Les worked with Todd Stanling a lot on that Canadian side of the Bigfooting. We know that, and whatever they've done in the past is what they've done. I'm not here to. I just know that I wanted to meet the guy. He's always been a kind of person that showed me a little bit. In them days, he was the guy to watch. So
okay,
and it wasn't necessarily about Bigfooting. Just this is the area that in Glen Haven I talked about with some of the markings there, and it's just a marking that's in that area that I talked about in Colorado near Estes Park that I saw my third Bigfoot in.
What do you have any meaning for that X? What's your meaning for it, or do you have one?
they say, I'm not the expert, that that could be a sign of don't come this way, of I'm marking you away from here. So
Yeah.
it's a stopping point, I guess. It's a don't come beyond this. It's like when the Indians put up their markers that they had on their lands, that when other tribes knew that that was their land by that marking. So maybe it's a territorial thing. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, now that's in Glen Haven. You're hitting real good here. Now I got a phone call from Leah, the one that said to me that she casted her footprint in flour, not the one that brought me out of my big footing. Well, she called me one day, and this is the third area where we saw this Bigfoot. And she called me one day and said it stepped into the sand trap or into the anthill. Now, how many times do you see that they do that? They have this whole area around them, but they step right in the sand. And then that's my foot. The footprint to the upper left is his. Mine's down at the bottom there. And that top area up top there to the left there, it looks like that's where he was scooping into the sand pile or into the ant pile with his hand.
Yeah.
But he left one footprint. I stuck my foot in there to show you a comparison. But
I don't
went,
know. I must have crazy pareidolia or something because I almost see a face right there.
wow. See, there you go.
You know, but then I see faces and rocks and trees and all the time and whatever. But doesn't that almost look like a face?
Yeah, it looks like he went in there.
Two eyes, a nose, and a little mouth. It almost looks like maybe he's trying to draw a Sasquatch or something. I mean, I don't know.
Wow. See, paradontal, there you go.
Well, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it is.
That's right. Okay, this is that print that I was talking about, that in the snow, that this thing was 10 feet apart. And I thought it was a jackrabbit, but look at the big that is. What the hell did that? It's like, and you see, and it jumps, and you see it from the beginning down here, and then it jumps there and it jumps. That was like 4 or 5 of those markings was in that line. And I'm thinking, what the hell was that? The Energizer Bunny, the size of King Kong jumping through here? But what did that? I just don't know. So it's not a Jeep getting, it's, you know, like you think of, it's, there's no wheel marks. It's a 10. I measured the space in between each one. There were 10 feet apart. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's
More mystery. This is me and Dennis Poles. This is the one who, from the Erickson project, that did that 5-year study with the Erickson project with Melba Ketchum, and all those guys did that in Kentucky, and got the Bigfoot's name was Matilda, and that's the guy that rounded me off not to be so rough and be so approach it in another way, the way they saw potential in me, but I was rough. And they wanted to bring, he showed me a side that, wow, you spent 5 years of your life on a project to prove the DNA on these things, and that project got squashed because the DNA was contaminated, in the words of whoever done the DNA testing. But that affected this man. He didn't quit. He came back out. He's a very good man. And what he's done on the Erickson project meant a lot to me. So that's the picture of me and Dennis.
Can you clarify what do you think they meant, or what they meant when they said you have potential, but you were a little rough? What were they meaning by that?
Is that, you know, not behind every tree, not every pile of sticks is a Bigfoot, not every rock pile is made by Bigfoot, not quit being so a Bigfoot's everywhere type of thing. It was he showed me that be scientific, journal more, be more. I just wasn't good at it. I was sloppy, and I had to have the profession to look at these guys and do what they did. And I learned off of that. So I was privileged to have that, to have a teacher, like you said earlier, to teach us. That's all.
Okay. That's a nice print.
Yeah, it is. And it's a print that got stolen from me, and it's one of my best prints of that flexation in the middle. And I got it right here on I was lucky enough that I molded them, and I got it right here. And that, the way the middle right there is, it's just, I got it. I know that you can't see it, but I do have I can make casts of that. But somebody stole the original, but that's one of my ones with that flex in there. I was like, man, is that mid-tarsal flex that they talk about? So, I mean, that was just a beautiful one. So
Really nice, huh?
here it is, guys. I have a trail cam set up, and I said I only got one dog man. Well, I lied. This is from a trail cam. If you look at that gorilla face dog man. And if you look at it, there's two of them. Go up to the top and kind of look. You're going to see something else.
I'm gonna move my pointer. Tell me where to go.
Okay.
Here.
So go down right there. Right there. Right there is, look at that crown, that sagittal, how pitched that, and then right there where you got your cursor is the eyes right there. It's like a gorilla face, that head right there. But now take that cursor and go about 2 o'clock. So go right there. Now down a little. Right there's the next one. He's in there, I think. Looking, that's his, about where you got the cursor is his eye, and he's looking that way, away. And that's what I think. There's two of them in there. Maybe not. Could be that paradol thing. But why would the trail cam take it like that? It had the trigger. So something went, and I don't put them up to where there's leaves around, branches blowing, where it triggers the machine. I have a clear view. And when the machine takes the picture, it's not because it could be something flew by, but that to me was the only trail cam picture in that area. All these pictures you're bringing up is the Glen Haven area. You did very well on showing in one area. Look at all this. But that was off the trail cam. That's off the trail cam. I see two creatures there. I see that. But you know what I see, most won't see. And I don't know.
What triggers a trail cam exactly? So you see, it just can't be like wind and leaves rustling or something, right? Or can it?
Yeah. If a branch is blowing over next to the view and it blows in front of that finder, it clicks the picture. You don't want that. So this is a clear area. So whatever triggered that picture had to come, either it shaking one of those branches in front of it, or him, or whatever it was. I mean, that's just a picture that, if it's blown, if it's cropped a little more, you see a little more features in there. But then again, like you say, that paradol out there, it's tricky, and it could be just
how high would you say that is off the ground?
My camera was sitting above this area on a tree, looking over the valley a little bit. So it's higher up, and that's lower. So it's down low, down probably about, within 50 feet, I would think.
So there's no way to gauge how tall, or if this is an individual, or what?
Right.
No way to gauge that.
Because see, later on, when you get these pictures, you throw your SD cards in somewhere. You don't look at things sometimes. I have so much stuff that I had to come back and look at this. I went, whoa, that's interesting. When we come back and we look at things and start analyzing, and we find, but I know exactly the area and where it was. And that's just, you can see that black obscuro there. You see something there. But
okay,
like you say, whoever get
special officer, is that you?
Yeah. You know what? I worked for the Broadmoor. I had special security clearance in Broadmoor, and when President Reagan came through, I was and I did a movie called The Case of the Sinister Ghost with Raymond Burr back in them days.
You did a movie with Raymond Burr?
Just a little bitty spot. I didn't have any of these lines or nothing. I was just like a stand. You see my back a little bit, but still, I was able to have clearance to the, I had special clearance. I was a special security officer.
Perry Mason.
There you go.
He
Ironside.
was born in New Westminster, British Columbia, where I'm from.
Ah, okay.
Hey, can you, Deborah Klein ask you about an email address? You can either put it in the comments when you go on the Pork and Bean Show, or you could just tell us now your email address.
Pretty simple. It's Bronco, like the Denver Broncos, but Bronco, BRON CO, Bronco Kenny, with 3 N's. So you got to go KENNNY, Bronco Kenny, at good old AOL.com. And this is
Awesome.
Cliff, of course. And Cliff came to our Nebraska event. And Cliff is going to be in my Estes Park event in April. And he'll be there with Huckleberry and Wild Bill from the Mountain Guys. And that's an event that I started in Estes Park after, like I said, when I first walked there wasn't even a t-shirt there. Now you can't walk down the town without a Bigfoot memorabilia somewhere. And an event that this town started for me was called Bigfoot Days. And this is Cliff actually talking at our event in Nebraska with Harriet. And Cliff's a good guy. We keep in contact. I know Bobo. I had Bobo up here. I've had Jeff and I've had Cliff. And they pretty much all stay together. And like you said, Jeff educates a lot. And Cliff's very good on footprints and his trackways too. So me and him's got that some type of connection there through our tracks. And I like that. And he's very pleasant with me. And so is his wife, Melissa. And that's the print that I just showed you guys that I found. It's 5.5 inches and it was in an inline stride. So beautiful. And next to that was a bigger one of about 8 inches. She's walking the same type of stride. And I followed the tracks, and where they go? Around the reservoir and right into the woods.
Nice.
So I want to feel that there was 2 of them that day. These were just prints at random that I just casted and put in. Now that one to the right, that whiter one, I like that one. It looks like Patty's print. If I get it, I'll have it right here. But if you take it and compare it to Patty's print, damn near looks the same. If I take this and put it up to Patty's, I have it right here in my hand. I got that print in 2018. But I like how the toes, it's not in that rainbow. It's more of that, it's a difference. It's not the rainbow style.
Do you have a Patty print, a replica or anything?
I do.
You want to put them side by side and have a look?
Yeah, let me go grab it.
Such a good guess. You did good getting Kenny on, man. This is he's just got a whole world of experiences here.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your this is signed by Bob and Cliff. Of course, I sent Bob I sent him a Christmas gift one year, and I made a replica of a doll for Bob. But this is the Patty print here.
Life size? Life size, right?
I got it right here. So
yeah, no, I see, but it's life size, the print, obviously. It's
yeah,
a replica, right?
right.
Oh, yeah, they are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Extremely similar.
Yeah. So when they talk to me about this stuff, I just bring up the visuals and go, well, look, and it kind of looks the same to me.
It looks very much alike, yeah. Incredibly so. And there you are with the man himself.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, before Russell went on to the show, and we were kind of just friends here and there, and I used to say to Russell, man, you used to come to events, you would never talk. He was always like the Bob's watchdog, but he got Russell got Bob out and got him the share, and Bob went through hell, and I was just so glad to meet him. He's one of my I had to meet him, and so we do correspond, and I made a replica doll for him and sent it to him, and the grin on his face, that smile, it was just paid off. But it was good to meet Bob, and he's got a lot of ridicule. You talked about earlier when I went through ridicule, this man, shoot, I'm nothing. Look what he went through. Look what Ron Moorhead went through with the Sierra sounds. Look at what these guys go through to show people things, and then they just get that this poor guy here, the way they treated him at a conference that year, and I'm not going to get into the conference, but it was a bad experience for him. And so we invited him to our conference. We didn't think he would come.
Why was it bad? Because they were ridiculing
Because
him?
they didn't pay him. It was something in a conference that happened to him. I think it was in Ohio. I don't remember. Something bad happened where he was supposed to speak and they cut him off and didn't let him speak. Yeah, it was a bad.
Like this is like the guy. That film started the entire resurgence of putting Sasquatch into people's consciousness. They cut that guy off.
Yeah, they did. It was
what the heck?
And people out there know what I'm talking about, and you can share more than me on the facts of that. But we got him after that. We got him after that, and got him up on the stage and just treated him like the king that he is. And like you said,
well, without naming names, because we don't want to. we already slagged Rickles. What's his name? Rickles.
Really, Richter.
Yeah, I mean, and he deserves it. But without naming names, why would they cut him off? I mean,
know. He was getting
doesn't make
ready
any sense.
Nope. And they didn't even pay him. And so when he came to us, we put $1,000 in his hands to make sure I'd have gave him $1 million if I could have, but we took care of the old boy, and he came, and we bonded, and it was what he went through, he shouldn't have, and that's just how we are in this world. David Plotty said it best one time: Bigfoot people are the worst ones, Kenny, and treating each other. And I'm like, yep, well, look what they did to Bob. But Bob's Russell's got him out, and Russell's on a TV show now. So I think that he's blossomed, Russell has, and he's got that show now. I mean, he got Bob to come out, guys, and heck, I was pretty good for me. So,
wow, that's unbelievable. I've met the man twice, and like you can tell when a person's sincere or whatever, and he's a sincere, genuine person. So I can't believe that anybody would have him at a conference and not want him to talk. That is mind-boggling to me. But
I'll get you more on that and stuff like N.K. Davis, right?
I've heard the name, yeah.
Well, people like that I flew a drone with MK not too long ago, and I don't try to pick sides with these guys. I'm trying to be the one that's with all you guys, because you guys all mean something, but we all have this damn power thing, and everybody's got to be better than the next or something like that. And I just try to just rub elbows with who I can and be fortunate about it to say that someday, that's, I got to spend some time. Like right now, we don't ever give back to some of these researchers. And like say, for instance, I'll talk about Melba real quick. She went through a big storm. I don't know if you know who Melba is, but she went through a big storm. Yeah, she went through a big storm, and her house is in disarray. And I'm just going to go down and help her so she can get out of that house and get better. But she's been through so much hell. But she's taught me so much about the Bigfoot on the DNA side of it, on how the Nephilim, that part of the Bible, on that part. She's just intrigued me on educating me more. So that's what Dennis did for me. So that's what Melba, but I also have a heart to go help these people, and I can do good carpentry work. And I'm just saying, we meet these people, but it goes far beyond sometimes just meeting them. We become friends and you become attached, and it's hard.
Yeah.
That
next picture.
Yeah.
I got people dinging me. Can you guys hear that? Every show they get, you hear that ding?
Oh, that's good though. We like dings.
What is that, your phone?
No, people messaging me and it's ding.
Good.
Turn off the notices. I think you'd have a hard time doing it, but you can figure out a way to do that.
Good old Bob there. So that's a print that actually, when we do our backwoods adventure weekend, guys, that is a fictitious print that I put in the ground to cast, just to show a casting demonstration. See, so in this, I'm going to say if it's a fictitious or not. That print I made just has a display to do a casting demonstration of what I do out in the woods and how I cast. And I'll cast before. I'll spray it with hairspray, or I'll spray it with a paint can if I have it, just to intact the dirt. And then I'll pour my mixture. I use plaster of Paris. And I know that the hydrocal is the best to use, but I'm the poor man's cast, and I use a plaster of Paris, and that was just a demonstration I did on that.
Yeah. That's that alien, right?
Alien, guys. And I told you when he took the valve stems off my truck, this is the picture on the trail cam that took it that day. Now it says all these times and stuff, and I'm thinking, well, what time was it and the date and blah blah blah. But that was the second picture of the second weekend of the third 3-weekend adventure I had after I saw my blue orb. That
Is this the guy who took your valve stems off?
valve stems. So I see bluish in the back there. Something looks like it's got eyes. I don't know what the hell that is, but I kind of see a neck. And I look down, I kind of see the shoulders. I see either it's the front of him or it's the back of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
see that.
That's it.
And this was taken with a game cam?
Why if somebody was trying to say that's a human, why would a human sneak up on you in the middle of the night camping and steal your valve stems?
Nude.
And the area is so damn remote.
With no shirt on. What was the temperature?
It takes 6 hours to get there. I just don't know.
What was the temperature that night? Was it hot or cold?
Well, it would be like at nights it would cool down, but it would be in hot, a little bit of a hot season. Yeah.
Okay.
Winding down towards autumn. Yeah.
Well, then theoretically, I suppose
that's just very strange. No matter what it is, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty interesting picture for sure.
So that's the first sighting of the red one. If you crop it in, you'll see his head. Yeah, there you go. Here? There you go. Now you see his head way up top there. So take your cursor about 12.
Well, I kind of see a whole head here, isn't it?
Right. Isn't that weird? I know. I thought at the beginning then, but go up about 12 o'clock on that curve. There, right there. Now go over just a smidget. You see his eyeball right there. Just from that 12, you see like that protruding head, his eyebrows, that cranium, that cranium there. Okay. It's right, and then you see a fist. He's swinging that arm up, and that blob right where that little swish is. You see like that in that light right there. Yeah, that's his fist. If you go over more to a little bit more, right in there, it's like his arm, and that fist is coming up.
It's funny how we all see things differently. Like I didn't even see this.
Right.
I don't even know if I actually even see anything, but like we all see things differently. But I thought I saw like a face or something, like a whole head there. But okay, that's interesting.
Okay, guys, that's the implant. That's the BB I talked about. I told you I did a body cast up there. I casted from that BB around his hip down to that leg. I casted. That's me going to the doctor and getting an x-ray. He says, you got something there. It moves. It's 3/4 of an inch. It's not attached to nothing. I'm going to put this BB next to it to give you a comparison.
Is that on the inside of an elbow or is that on the outside of the elbow?
Well, that's not his. That's me. It's not in the elbow. It's not in the elbow. It's down there where I casted that. Remember I said I casted that body cast? I know it's okay. This is me. It's down there, my privates. It's on my hip. It's in the front right there. It's right where I casted that body cast. The same damn thing. I get this. But you see the arrows pointing to that cylinder-looking shape. He says it's metallic.
How do you feel about it? Are you happy with it in there?
No, I think that medically I need to know that Jason's I thought would be a bone spur, and it was. Mine's not any bone spur. So either I got a medical condition or I got something going on that I can't explain.
Well, you wouldn't have something metallic in there. That's not a medical condition. What I'm asking is, do you feel that it's for your benefit or detriment to have that in there?
I'm afraid that I don't want to take it out because I think it's a benefit. Yeah. I think I might lose something. Maybe it's there and if I take it, I don't have it now.
Well, did you have any scoop marks on your body? You know what a scoop mark is? It looks like a little tiny indent, like somebody scooped some skin out of your skin. You ever notice any of those?
I'll be darned. No. But yeah, that's the X-ray from me
Neil
showing.
Bowden asked that and who else? Deborah Klein
No,
says I got a BB market,
no, I
BBM
don't have any divots.
upper nostril.
No, but don't have any divots like that.
Well, have you had any negative experiences or whatever? Because, if not, this probably tells me that it's probably something benevolent and something that's for your own good. Have you had a lot of negative experiences surrounding Sasquatch or extraterrestrials or anything like that?
No, I haven't seen any increases in depths. Haven't seen any increases in anything that's not regular in my life. It's just the same course it's always ran. Nothing's deterred it. No.
Yeah, and you're moving along your journey and learning and learning and learning. And
Neil Bauman says I have one in the same spot. How cool is that?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, guys. Wow, guys. And
Well, you put it out there and you get feedback.
yeah, and I've never shared with anybody. You're probably the only show besides the film that I shared this with. And I don't think the film wants to put this on because most people, this is pretty deep. And I don't know how I feel about it is I kind of want it to know what it is. So
the
that's
film
the
doesn't
only
want
way.
to put it in because it's too far out there or something?
Yeah.
That's
But
the
what
thing I
we're
don't agree
talking
with.
about. Like
I
you
don't
said
agree
earlier,
with that, like that's
I don't either. I don't either. I think share it.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean it's like watering down the story. Like if
Neil says he's had I've had interactions with the blue orbs 6 times. So how about that? He's had interactions with the blue orbs that like you have.
Well, Ron Moorhead talks about it in his Sierra Sounds, and I never knew that until somebody told me. And I went back and listened. I go, he does talk about a blue orb. I didn't never knew that. Up
And
there,
Deborah Klein says, I think that we should have Deborah Klein says, I think we should have you back on a second show, which I think that would be a good idea if you wanted to come back again.
Oh yeah, that's no problem. They're not. So okay, that's no problem. Now, guys, that's my first sighting I'm talking about. And if you cropped in a little bit, he had a white patch over his forehead. If you go that patch in that black spot there, but he's got his nose sitting right down in that crack there. And it's hard from here. It looks like a black blob, but if you crop it in a little bit,
trying to, but it's
but
it doesn't look like it
that
wants
was my
you to do
first
that.
sighting. That's the one I was looking at. That's the one that I ended up in my truck sitting there thinking, how the hell I get in my truck and what did this thing do to me? That's my first sighting right there. It took a lot of years, and that's the sighting it's blew my mind out. It did a sizzling, a mind effect, a blasting, I don't know. It just put me in somewhere, but and then I hear my family members say to me, well, you're this big Bigfoot guy and you out there and you see him and you ran from it. I know. And that hurt. And I thought, you don't even know what you're talking about. Well, it was right there. I just that's the kind of chastity I was talking about earlier, how even family members say, geez, if it's just, you just think it's different when you're there and you're seeing it like that. But that's the first guy that started it for me as far as getting my first visual of one in the daytime. That's that back to the what we were talking about earlier of that could be that dog man in this one. That's just another picture of it.
Okay.
For there.
Trackway.
See, that's the first trackway in Estes Park that I called Dennis up on in 2012. It was on a ranch called the Elkhorn Ranch. And it's the oldest ranch in Estes Park. Excuse me. And that was the first trackway that I thought that was good enough for me to bother the BFRO about, because they get so many calls. But if it's something like this, more than 3 tracks in a row like that, they will come up and look.
What are these little? Sorry, go ahead.
That was just on a local ranch.
What are these little circle things here? Little animal tracks or what? See these?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like a little raccoon or something
You
like
could be, yeah,
rodent or
could be
something.
raccoon, rabbits. There's turkeys. There's uh, that roam that mountain. Yeah, the picture from here, it's small and I can't see, but I probably animal tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice that they have them there because it shows you how much bigger the act. Like look how big the print is
Yeah.
in relation to these. Pretty cool.
Right. That's what I was talking about earlier. So that's my biggest track I found on that ranch. It's in a museum right now. It was found on a hill. Now, they want the before print, guys, picture. Back in them days, I didn't worry about befores and afters, but now everybody's so technical. I try to do that more better. But this print, I even went down to the ranch hands and said, are you guys screwing with me up on that mountain? Because I just found this print, the biggest I've ever found, and I want to know because it looked like it's cut out by a cookie. It's beautiful, but that is the biggest print I've ever found, and
It's
I
a really
think
narrow foot, isn't it?
and I think it was around 19 inches. But the surface that it was on, guys, Colorado's very hard. It was a flat, hard horse trail, and it was just packed so hard. There was no residual in it. So when I casted it, it came out flat with no type of mid-tarsal flex in it. And I was told by Ron Moorhead, it ain't always about having the perfect print, Ken. You see a lot in prints that doesn't have the toes. And you can see that this print here. And I'm like, yeah. But people always, what's the before picture? And I'm like, oh my God. Anyways, it was on a ranch on the Elkhorn. You just pulled up yeah, that's great what you're doing. That's off of the Elkhorn Ranch in Estes Park around 2012.
Awesome.
Yep.
Is it the same
That's more of
trackway?
that trackway. That's more of that first trackway we talked about. Yep.
Oh.
That's me doing the big advertising for the Alien Contact, or this might have been Ron's movie, Bigfoot Alien Connection.
That's
And
you in the costume?
that's me. And I run around Estes Park, guys, doing this, my costumes. I'm the only, who else in the United States can walk around a little town like me in a Bigfoot outfit and the town accepts it? Because I did the Bigfoot days. I'm the Bigfoot guy there. I'm the one who roamed those mountains for 15 years around there getting this stuff that we're seeing today. And these guys appreciate that. And they gave me an event called Bigfoot Days. I'm just there promoting Ron's movie, Ron Myers and Jesse or Alan Meekargle's movie, Alien. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to have a little balance, get criticized and crapped on by a bunch of people and then be appreciated by others. So it gives,
It took a lot for the town to open up and say,
this
hey,
is nothing new. The UFO community has been eating each other alive for the last 70 years.
yeah,
So, it's the same kind of thing with them. They, you don't know this, you don't know that, and you're a hoaxer and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe you. Where's your proof? Where's your photos? The same stuff.
it's the reason is well, there's a couple of reasons. Well, more than a couple, but one reason is because they don't have, like, you've obviously got a connection with Sasquatch and these things because you're open-minded. You've got a great heart, as I can see. And so they're connecting with you and giving you things. These other guys cannot fathom that because they've been at it for 30, 40 years and they don't get any of that stuff.
right.
So you got to be a hoaxer. You got to be, like you're a nut, like, like we're the professionals. It's an ego thing too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's that picture again. Boy, I like
That's-
that picture.
That's the Bailey. Sybil Irving sketched that,
Beautiful.
from-
I think we're done with, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah, I can always go back in and send more, and definitely would like to come back. And yeah, what your any questions? I guess, huh?
Do we have any questions from the peanut gallery? Yeah, we don't have to go right away. We can still go on for 10, 15 minutes if you want, just because the
It's
picture.
already for 3 hours and 20. I just don't know if he's got a time restraint or anything.
When do you have to leave?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Just whenever you guys want to wrap, we're good.
Well, we'll maybe get some closing thoughts and stuff and whatever, and then we can wrap it up. But I was interested. So you talked to Igor quite extensively, right?
Yeah, keep in touch with them.
I've always been really interested in that Zelda story, or whatever. And she actually had offspring, right? And
Yeah, one of them's named Kiwit. One of her offsprings, and his skull now. If you set it next to a human, it's just so much different, so much massive bigger. So,
but she's got, but she must have.
I'm told this guy, she's got African part of nothing to do with. She's got African in her DNA. Okay, what little bit I can.
Or Xena, or what's her name?
Yep,
Xena.
Xana.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
But have they ever done any DNA tests on some of her descendants or whatever? Because I mean, she's still got living descendants right now, right?
Yes. Yes.
What can you tell us anything about that?
The mitochondrial of the DNA and all this stuff, how they break this all down. I am not your expert on that stuff to talk about.
No, but you can talk about it in a conversation kind of way.
Yeah, and I don't want to come across as I know, because I really don't know. I know that they have studied the family offspring, and all I know is a little bit in there is I keep thinking that where did the African DNA part come in from? She was I just don't know much about the family on because when Dragomir comes, when Igor comes, he's very entailed in his work, and I can get him away for a bit and really have some time with him. But with Xana, I was more talking about what time I had with Igor, and talking about all that is how they subdued her and had offsprings with her. And why did they beat her into submission the way they did? These cruel towns, what is this, medieval days when we beat somebody into submission, that we breed with them? Yeah, she had offsprings, but I believe the first one passed away. Wow. And then she used to bathe the kids naked in water. Or Igor told me some stories about
in cold water.
Yeah, how they she slept on a ground that she didn't want covers. She didn't have utensils, so pretty much she kept but they kept her alive. And to me, that was just, what is this, a carnival act? I mean, I just didn't ever like that part of the Xana stuff.
Well, I mean, people are cruel, man. Anything they don't understand.
You got another request from Deborah.
Okay.
She wants, back when you were a little while back, you were talking about your third sighting, and somehow or other your mic got cut off for like about a minute and a half there. So maybe if you feel like it, you could go back over that.
The BFRO, that
the third sighting that you had, you were talking about.
Well, that's in Glenhaven that I talk about. And the BFRO was down there, these ladies, and it was getting just before dark, and they were scared, got out of there because they're saying they're seeing something on thermo, that there was two of them in there trying to do a flanking, like coming from one side and another side, so kind of doing a pyramid on them, kind of trapping them in a little bit. They got scared, and so I go down there, go down there, and it was just, guys, enough darkness where I could see when I got out of my truck to go through that area that she's talking about. one tree was just shaking, and I could hear it hit the ground and start running. I start running. I see it running. It's running up on the cliff, and I'm running diagonal to it, kind of flank it, guys. And I get to this spot that's got an opening, and I turn and take a picture of this. And he looked like a person that's on a track runner, but he looked like the hair, I say this, of Bruce Jenner. What is he, Caitlyn? And how Bruce has got his hair now. That's what it looked like. It looked like the hair from that. If you ever watch Marlo Thomas, that girl, and you ever see that hair she had, that's what it looked like. That kind of hair. And I know it's getting towards dark and all that, but you can see that black, and you see the head, you see everything. I just got one good picture of it. And that's the same area that I got the holler of that on the recorder of that, him yelling at me with this woo. He did this woo, 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 right behind me up on this ridge. And I'm bending down. Guess what I'm doing when he's hollering at me? I'm bending down, measuring one of his plants that was in the side of the river there. And I'm looking, and he must have, I don't know what it was with that it happened as I'm bending down. I have my recorder on, so I get this beautiful yell at me. And that's the area that I got. And all these years, you hear all these Bigfoot vocalizations. My first Bigfoot vocalization was this. It was whoop, beautiful whoop.
Yep.
And it was just a beautiful whoop. And I'm like, It wasn't this, oh, you're screaming your face off. It was just beautiful whoop.
Yeah.
And I thought, and when I do that whoop, people goes, well, I go, well, that's one of the first one I heard. That's one I want to stick with.
What do they say when you do that? They don't believe you?
Well, they say like, they don't like, I guess, I don't know what it is with vocalizations. You have to be out there. My first vocalization I heard was my whoop, and I stick with that. I don't do these long hollered out.
What do they say though? What do the guys, they criticize you for it?
Well, I've had that about my call, and it's not projecting enough. They want a projection.
Oh, that's
type.
No.
I know.
Listen. Whoop! I've heard that dozens of times.
Exactly.
Just like that. Whoop!
Yeah.
With the puff at the end.
Yep. Just like that.
Dozens of times.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
That's crap, man. Criticizing you for that. That's the most common thing I've heard. I've heard the big scream like Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I've heard the stuff that sounds like they're screaming and there's wind in the background.
Yeah.
Just like it sounds like it's really, really weird or whatever, but far and away, the most common thing I've heard is that whoop.
Whoop. Yeah.
So where the sun, where you can stick the sunshine, right? Or that's ridiculous. So I wanted to ask you, what is it about you? And I'm not sure if you were like this right off the bat, but what is it about you that when when you're with Sasquatch or having experiences or whatever, or why do you, not literally, but in a figurative sense, run towards it while other guys run the other way and maybe never go back? What do you think is it about you that is different from a lot of these people?
I accepted to go back. I didn't turn away from it. There's something that says you need to go more, fulfill more. You're not done yet. There's more out there. Don't give it up. The adventure, I guess after a while, it becomes more the adventure. It's not there. It's the learning more now. And I know that one day when we're looking up from the heavens down, we're going to know all the answers. But the more that I think that I learn, is more answers that come up, more questions, I should say, come up, not the answers. So I just keep going. I know there's more questions out there, and I'm just looking for more answers. That's all.
We got a question from Anita Hilobichuk. Well, what a name. Do you ever try to talk to them when you know they are near, or when you know that they're there? Do you ever try to talk to them?
Absolutely. Even a guy made a comment to Alan at a BFRO event that Kenny was up there talking to them. I do that a lot. I asked for that. Yeah, talk to them. Sure. When we were talking about earlier, sounds that we make and that attracts them. I've sat in my tent and played a 1950s crank lullaby toy. It goes, you crank those toys to make that nice lullaby music. And I go to my window and I have three of them looking at me with eye shine, just looking at me, white eye shine at me, three of them out there. And I think, wow, Ken, these things live in a world of roughness. Why do they come up and touch our windows? Why do they want to come and touch things like just shiny?
That's good you talk to them because, that's respect, man. You're treating them, it sounds like you're treating them like they're like humans or they're like you would treat and greet a regular person. That's what they want. They don't want to be thought of as monsters.
Well, like I saw on 3 Men and a Baby with Tom Selleck in that show, how Tom Selleck was talking to the baby with that calmness in his voice, and the baby heard that, and the baby calmed down. That's true. We can talk and have a sense to our voice that maybe that intrigues them, I just think that being subtle somewhat, and I do talk to them in the sense that, and it's not always a verbal contact, it's
right.
a mind. It's sometimes through the thought process of thinking back and not even saying a word.
Have you experienced mind speak or anything of that nature? I mean, you've had that precognitive thing, which is amazing, but have you had mind speak or anything like that?
Well, not to where I'm being told, like you said earlier, the Bigfoot's telling you to talk about when we talked about it. I don't have that in a sense that like Robin and Pat talks about McCoy, that type of connection.
If you get a clear indication to look down, so something feels look down or look up, that's mind speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I have that. So
I've probably had all of the different types, but the voice in my head, words I've only had maybe a dozen times or whatever, but like what Mr. Bean just said is mind speak, like a thought placement, and the answer is right there. That's mind speak. So there's a lot of different definitions of mind speak. That energy that I get, like when they wanted me to talk about what I was talking about, that's the same kind of thing. There's so many different ways. It's just not like go to them, go here or do this, or hey, I'm Exanu, and it's not always a voice in your head.
Right.
So sounds like you definitely have it, because you said yourself, you've been led places or whatever that that was not, it was independent of what you were planning on doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got your own version of it.
I've been deterred off the path on purpose. For what reason? Don't know. Then I find a reason. Like, wow, that's why you were deterred, dude. Listen, do the unnormal thing, that unorthodox, that, listen. I guess Mom used to tell you, listen to that voice in your head. Right and wrong. Is that what we're talking about? No, but I do think that over the years I've attracted a something like what Pat and what Robin do, how they communicate and talk with these. Even Melba Ketchum says she has talks with them guys openly in a clan. She has a clan on her property too. So these people that are scientists, these friends that we talk about, Melba and Pat and all them, that connection that they have, like you just saying, I don't have it to that extent, but there is.
No. Don't cut yourself. No. Don't cut yourself short. What you get is just
enough.
It's not just enough. It's just the same thing, just delivered in a different package. There's it's not like this is better than this. It's just that they are connecting with you in the best way,
and they
feel that they can connect with you. You're just as advanced and just as evolved as the people who have a regular conversation with them.
Yeah.
If you sat with yourself and looked like when you say I'm going to go in the woods on Tuesday, or I'm going to go in the woods on Wednesday, if you pay attention to that, there's probably a difference between going into the woods on Wednesday or Tuesday, and if you feel that impulse to go, that's also mind speak. And then especially if something really nice happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, just yesterday, and I'm not going to get into the story because it's a long, drawn out story. I'll do it. It's amazing, but I'll do it on another day. But I just had a feeling.
That's why, because you're a teaser. You like to tease us.
Well, I'm not going to get it. No, I don't think I want to go
Bring
into that.
back.
Let's get Ken's show. But my point is that I had a feeling. Well, I better go here today, and then I went there, and it was just like, whoa! The stuff that happened was just freaking blew my mind.
Oh.
So, that's the same kind of thing. So don't cut yourself short, my friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I'll just show you one.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody who goes out the woods looking for Sasquatch who did not have a spiritual or a psychic experience. When people talk about hair running up on their arm or feeling like somebody's watching them, or there's always some kind of a tell, a woo-woo tell.
Yeah.
The researchers don't admit it, but they talk about it all the time. What is that, a tooth?
No, I'm not going to get into the whole story, like I said, but I've been gifted a lot of stuff by them. I mean, my 3 gift rocks are probably the most amazing. No, this is a crystal.
Yeah.
Like
They gave me like a quartz crystal. Gifted me this.
Sweet.
I've never had a quartz crystal.
It looks really
before.
pure.
And the thing is that I have a lot of crystals and whatever and stuff, and that I like them, and there's a lot more behind it, but yeah. And I was just said I have to go here, and they gave me a gift rock, quartz crystal, and they did a bunch of other stuff, like just blew my mind. But
yeah, I've get a lot of quartz in the area that I'm in because there's a quartz mine up in there in my first sighting area. So I bring a lot of quartz down to Colorado. I actually carry quartz in my car underneath my car seat. I just think that there's something with the quartz. I just love the.
That's not the first person I've ever heard say that. It's like half a dozen people have said that there was quartz around, or there was 100 yards away, there was a big outcropping of quartz, or, seems to be a common thread.
I'll give you one more little tiny teaser on that story. There were 2 little pieces. There was a tiny little piece too. And I automatically got the thought, I got to give this to my friend Tyler, a guy that I've been introducing to the Sasquatch, and like they connect people. That's one of the things that they do, connections. And so he's starting to have his own experiences. And as soon as I saw the other little piece, I said, this is for Tyler. This guy's really amazing. As soon as he put the quartz in his hand, he got a big download, an incredible download of information just by holding it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how evolved these beings are, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, rocks aren't no slouch either. Rocks are like really up there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for the people who are tuned into rocks, I understand now why they're tuned into rocks. Rocks are buzzing with intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know a lady who talks to quartz. She says they have intelligence and consciousness and all kinds of things. And, that's true, because Beans has had conversations with rocks. But don't ever say, but if you're around a rock and you're having a conversation with one, don't ever think you got rocks in your head, because they don't like that. They don't like that at all. As they pointed out to Beans, that they don't appreciate being called dumb as a rock, or
box of rock,
dumb as a bag of rocks or something.
There you go.
So I guess we should maybe think about wrapping it up. But did you have your favorite encounter story, or do you have one favorite story you wanted to share before we go? And then maybe
I think it was the blue orb, guys. It was that blue orb sighting. It was that blue orb sighting in 2020 where I saw the little one running to it.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting for me, that one.
Okay.
Now the red one that I showed that was only within 20 feet of me was close, and the way it was looking, it was so intimidating that I said made me stop the bigfooting. But I think that the spaceship sighting and that little guy behind me in that picture. There's just so much, but what really sticks out, I guess, is that red one and the way it looked at me with those eyes. The eyes wasn't like ours. I didn't see any white in it. They were dark, and
Yeah.
it was that was different. Looking,
So thanks for coming. So basically, like Beans and I have experience or whatever, your life has been enriched and much better with your relationship with Sasquatch, correct?
much.
Yeah, we talked about that when you were
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
about the
yeah.
We're definitely going to have to
education.
have you back on, Ken. I think
Okay.
just because, not that you have more, just the stories.
Yeah. I missed that part, but no, I think it's important to know that for people that, you know, if they have a real connection with them, that their lives are enhanced or whatever and better, and they're not monsters, you know, they're teachers. They're
Yeah.
teachers, and they're loving,
Yeah.
caring,
Yeah.
sentient beings. And we all agree on that. So that's an important message to put out there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks
Ken.
for coming.
Thanks
Thanks for
very much.
showing
And
up.
on behalf of Port Cunningham and Frank Oliver Beans,
We already got 350, 320 views, something like that. So you're in a good
Right
track.
on.
this has been the Pork and Beans Show. Thank you.
That means in a
Kenneth Collins.
couple
Merry
more days,
Christmas.
it'll probably get close to 1,000.
Yeah.
Huh?
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure
Merry
having you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Pork and beans,
In a can,
pork and beans,
in a pan,
pork and beans.
man, we love pork and beans. In a can,
Handy, handy, handy.
in a pan,
Candy, candy, candy. In a can, in a pan, in a pan, in a can. Man, oh man, they're just
just dandy pork and beans.
in a can,
Pork and beans,
in a pan.
pork and beans.
Man, we love pork and beans.